Hi, this is Steve Jolly and Monica Neubauer, and we're here today to talk to you a little bit about virtual open houses and the tools that you need to do those, any tips and tricks that we have to do those, and just to see if we could answer any of your questions about virtual open houses. So we're glad you could join us today. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below in the live stream. And below the live stream in the comments section, and Monica and I will try to keep an eye on them, and we will try to answer them as much as possible. And if we don't get to any, we'll also try to follow up afterwards and try to answer those directly in the comments. So how are you doing today, Monica?
I'm good, Steve. Thanks for inviting me to join you and share some good scoop.
Oh, you're welcome. So I would say that probably neither one of us are an expert. I've only done one virtual open house, but I learned a lot from it. How many have you done so far, Monica?
I have just done one also, but I did interview somebody who's done more for the podcast. So I've got a little additional scoop I can bring for us.
Awesome.
I got that third party input there.
Awesome. And both of us have also done several virtual showings over the years, or virtual tours, however you want to call or whatever you want to call those. So we have some of that experience also kind of lends over to this virtual open house. But one of the first questions I always get is about, like, what kind of tools do you need to do a virtual open house? And that's the great thing about it, is because you don't need a whole lot of stuff. All you really need is a telephone, your iPhone, and you need, you don't need these, but I think they're really helpful, having some headphones in there. And so what about you, Monica? What else do you think is necessary really to have?
Well, all I used was a telephone. So, and it did affect my sound a little bit. My client was doing a watch party so did y'all hear that part? So while I was doing the live open house, which we'll talk about where to post it, but I was doing it on my personal page, and my client was doing a watch party of my virtual open house on her page at the same time. So she was watching it, and she said to me, when I would turn my phone back, like I would keep it this way, and then I turned it this way to get, do a little shot of me, the sound changed, and you can hear it on my video, which I thought was kind of strange because the microphone's here, so I wouldn't think it would have been a big difference, but maybe my hand was there. So I think the mic is a good idea.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you want one of these, is because even if you turn and switch the camera around on the front of your phone, it's somewhat, I guess they have their mics, they can change the direction of where they're trying to input, and it sounds muffled if you turn it around. So
it did.
So whenever I do a virtual tour or virtual open house, I always wear these headsets, and no matter what way you're looking at it, the sound always comes through clearly. So that is a good thing to do.
Thinking about being prepared though, you want to make sure that you go through the house and turn on all the lights.
Oh yes, for sure.
I mean, this is something you want to do before, because I always feel awkward, whether I'm making a video that I'm going to put on YouTube about the house or I'm doing a virtual open house. I want to make sure the house is ready. So when I'm walking through, I'm just focusing on the house, and I'm not turning on any lights or creating that distraction, or even, I forgot to turn on these lights here, and then you get irritated. So go through the whole house and make sure it looks the way you want it to look before you start taking your...
Exactly. Like, I always turn on all the lights, open up all the blinds. If I'm going to go out any doors and show people the outside, sometimes I'll even open the doors so it's easy just to walk right straight on outside. But yeah, that's really good points. Or if you want to show the inside of a closet or a bathroom, make sure those doors are open. Those are all really good points. Another question I get often
wait.
Okay,
One more tool that is, if we're going to start doing this more regularly, doing videos or the virtual open houses, is to have a gimbal. And a gimbal is it's that thing you hold and you put your camera on it, and then it just helps your camera be much more smooth when you open it.
Yeah, it stabilizes that image for you.
Right. And if you don't have a gimbal, you can start with a selfie stick. But I will tell you this. One thing that I did was I used my oh, it's not within. I have kind of my little octopus stand, the one, where you put it up to your little tripod with the moving legs. And so I was using my tripod, which can also act as a gimbal, but I hadn't tightened my camera to the tripod. So it was kind of moving a little bit, and my legs were kind of, they're not firm. So my camera was moving even more than if I'd actually just had it in my hand. So pay attention to, if you don't have a quality gimbal, a selfie stick is good. It's going to be firmer, or that mini tripod would also be good, but just make sure you make your camera tight on it. And that's a good tool for a smoother shot.
Yeah, and if you don't have one of those, it's okay to start simple. I don't use one. But when I'm walking through the house trying to show what the house looks like, I kind of hold my elbows tight against my body so they're stiff, and then I hold it with both hands, and I just kind of turn my body like this. And that way it helps to kind of get that. Because if you have the camera views bouncing up and down as you walk, I mean, it can give you motion sickness, and it'd be hard to follow for folks.
It is hard. It is hard to follow. So that's really good. That's a good point. Yeah. And you're a more methodical person than me. So you're more naturally inclined to do it that way. I'm like talking in it and moving it around. And, I just kind of create this all the time. So that's a good thing for everybody to remember, is that being more precise with it, and even planning a little bit. Maybe you want to do a practice video before you do the open house, just to see how you look doing it. Because, I mean, they can go see mine on my Facebook page or my Facebook business page at Franklin Monica if they want to see what it looks like. But it is kind of bouncy. I mean, I would like to be a little more controlled with it next time. So, so I want to focus on that. And I like your point about, if you don't have some kind of a gimbal, just keep it really focused and make your turns. If you want to be on it, flip your camera or something, but be a little more intentional with how you use your camera. Don't be as flippant as I am, especially because I'm kind of used to playing with my camera, and so I'm comfortable with that, and I don't mind that it looks kind of hodgepodgey. But some of you, if you do that, you're going to be unhappy with your video, and I don't want you or your clients to be unhappy with it. So that methodical approach.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I'm going to show you my phone. I'm going to show you one thing, because Monica made a good point a minute ago. She said that, do some practice rounds, but you don't want to practice and go live to everybody. So let me share my phone with you. I'm going to show you something over here. If you look up here in the top, you can see public post. If you click on that, you can see where you want to post to, and you can select only me, which is right there in the middle of the screen there. So you could just post it, and it'll only show up on so you can do a practice round, walk through the home, and do a live broadcast. It's going to show up on your website, but you're on your Facebook page, but you're the only one that's going to see it. And so that way you can just show it to yourself. You can practice, you can go back to review, and you can learn what you did right and wrong. But I think that is a really great point.
But don't forget then to go back and turn it back to public.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise you go to all your trouble and you do your video and it's just for you. It's for your own entertainment.
For sure. And I did that the other day. I left the mic off, and then I went live to do a live stream, and nobody could hear me. And about 4 minutes later, thankfully Jeremy Hunley sent me a text, "Hey, you have no audio." I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to cancel it and start over. It was so embarrassing, but that's life. One embarrassing moment after another, right?
Take every opportunity, right?
Yeah. Another thing that I learned when doing my last one was that if you especially I was doing it in an empty home, so it didn't have internet access, it didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was doing it off data. And as I got to certain parts of the home, I didn't have as good of quality of a signal. And so that's another good reason to walk through the whole home and practice it, just to see if you have any dead areas in the home that don't get a signal, because you don't want your live to fade out, or you don't want it to completely disengage and shut down. So that is...
Along the lines of that, though, I think if you're using data, you want to move it even slower. Because, I've seen some other virtual lives, and when they move faster, which again is what I tend to do, I was on Wi-Fi, and when I go back and look at it, I still think I moved it a little too fast sometimes. But when you're on data, I think you need to move it even slower because just your upload speeds aren't as good. So,
And I think
yeah.
as you're walking through, I mean, like when kind of walk through the home like you do with your clients. I mean, you're not in a fast pace flying through the whole home. You're usually walking through. You're focusing on things like especially the top 5 or top 10 things in the home. Take some time and focus on those so people can really see it and appreciate it, and they don't miss out on those special features of that home that you're selling.
Well, that I think along those lines, let's talk about the difference between just a video. There's all kinds of ways to show the property. And I see there's some comments over here about, what a professional photographer's doing and stuff like that. And so right now, when I hire the photographer, I'm having them do the still shots and I'm having them do the 3D Zillow shot. It's pretty affordable. Or you could have them do the Matterport or something. So I'm definitely doing a 3D one way or the other. And you can have them do the video where you stitch the pictures together and they do it with music and stuff like that, and that's fine. But I think what people like is more of what Steve and I have been talking about. It's where you're going through the house. So I will do a generic video when I list the property that is just, here, let's take a look at the property to give them an idea of the floor plan. And so that's a video. The 3D or the video could be called a virtual tour by someone. That term's kind of gotten muddy. So we've got still photos, we've got 3D photos, we've got a video, and I think a casual video is just fine with that, or you can have a professional do that. Then there's also the Zillow video, which can only be done through the Premiere app, and that's a 2-minute video that doesn't have sound. And so all of those are standard things that you can take and have running as marketing your listing. But the virtual open house is one that you market. You're going to be there. You put it as an open house in the MLS and put some notes with it that it's virtual. I actually put up a sign at my listing, and I made a tiny URL that they could go to my Facebook page to see it if they had driven by. It may not always be that way. You might be doing virtual open houses in addition to a open the door open house later on. But so the virtual open house is there to be that more detailed video. You want it to be 5 to 10 minutes. You want to go into just what you were saying, Steve. You want to go into the closets and focus on the features. And so when I did my virtual open house, my clients had left with their family, and I was in the house by myself. And as I come into the main family room, I realized that the washing machine is on and the dishwasher is on. So I just walk over to the laundry room door, and I'm like, look at this laundry room door, how you can shut the door and shut out the washing machine sounds, and you don't need to hear it. And I moved on along, and then when I walked into the kitchen, I said, that sound that you might hear a little bit of? That's the dishwasher. Listen how quiet it is in the kitchen. And so I just really leaned into what was going on and showed those features. And that's part of the benefit of the virtual open house is it's not quite as staged. And if you see people ask questions, you can, answer them.
So. And that's a good point. And I think Monica does a great job of this, whether she's teaching or on camera, is that she just has fun with it. And it makes it more entertaining than just being, drowning or just being kind of, just talking through the process. If you be upbeat, if you're smiling, if you're just having fun and laughing, that makes it more interesting. It makes it more entertaining. You'll have more people watch. You'll have more people connect with you in that way. And I think that's a really good point. Just being the best, even though if you're not like an upbeat person overall, just be the best happy version of yourself for that time on camera. And I think no matter who you are, what your personality is, it's going to shine that day. People are going to connect to you, no matter who it is. So just put your best foot forward and don't be afraid. I think that's another thing that I think live helps people get over with is because if you're trying to make a video where you can do multiple takes, you always want it to be perfect. But live's not going to be perfect, as Monica just gave us two great examples right there. So,
Yeah.
and it's just one take, so don't worry about it. And people understand. Nobody's going to judge you or think that you're not professional just because you didn't think about turning the dishwasher off because it was a
Right.
little noisy. So just have fun with it. Just have
Yeah.
fun with
Didn't
it.
even realize that. Yeah. Hey, we have a question. People are asking, is the
Okay.
virtual open house live? Why don't you talk about the best place to do it live on your
Okay.
personal page or your business page? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think that depends on the individual, but you have the choice. You can put it on your personal page. You can put it on an individual page. You could do it in a group, or you could do it. You could actually create a Facebook event and then do a live to that event.
Yeah,
So for me, I have the most engagement and the most number of people attached to my personal page, and so that's why I did it there. And then you can always share that video with your business page,
that's what
or
I
you
do.
can take a recording and post it on your business page. So is that what you did, Monica?
Yep, that's exactly what I did because, like you, I have the most people and friends on my personal page. So I did it there, and then I downloaded it there, and then posted it on my business page as well. And if you haven't already done a video for your listing, you could download it and put it on YouTube with the address and some good SEO to have as a video of the property as well. I already
Mm-hmm.
had a video, so I didn't add this to it. But that's another resource, another way to use it.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, you take this and repurpose it and use it multiple ways for marketing. Another thing I'm doing is I'm just taking I take that post that I recorded and I'm running ads off of it, retargeting people that have been to my website so they can see that video live. So if they missed it live, they can catch the replay of it later on. So that's any way that you can reuse that information is just a bonus. Because why do one thing? Why do it if you're putting all that effort into it? Why do it once and not and only get that benefit out? You should try to get the maximum amount that you can out of any marketing materials that you produce.
So, Steve, when you're doing a Facebook Live
Mm-hmm.
video, I had kind of a hard time when I was doing the video. And like I said, I was kind of trying to do a bunch of things at once. So I felt a little bit like, okay, let's just do this and see what happens. But um, I was having a tough time because I'm videoing and I couldn't, let's see, I had the back. So the screen was towards me, but it was too much to focus on the camera and the house. And there were a few questions that came in, not a lot, but a few, and I couldn't see them and answer them. I mean, maybe part of it was just because I was a little bit nervous, doing this open house by myself, and I was
Mm-hmm.
using this weird gimbal. So I know you're probably surprised I don't have like a nice gimbal, but I don't. um, so I had a hard time seeing the comments on it, and I wondered if you had any comments on kind of how to manage that, short of having another person, because that's another way you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
The folks I interviewed, they had another person watching the Facebook Live, and they answered the questions while it was going on. It was another person doing it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I conned Gretchen into coming to the open house with me, and so she helped me with the comments. And actually, we had somebody show up to do an in-person showing, like within 30 seconds of me starting the virtual tour open house. So that was kind of another
Throw off.
confusion and distraction all in the very beginning. But if I wouldn't have had her there, I wouldn't have known what to do. So I really want to thank her for being there and being willing to help me with that. So yeah, I would recommend having a second person because it's too hard to focus on the home, focus on what you're videoing and reading and remembering what you're supposed to say and then reading comments as they come
Yeah.
through. It's just,
Yep.
I can only focus on one thing at once. So
And that's about 4. So yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of slow that way. So I want to talk about other things that we can do to kind of promote your virtual open house.
Promoting it's interesting. And
Yeah.
our MLS does not have drop down yet for virtual open house. So I think that's something that the conversation will be having. I know that other MLSs are having that conversation as well to make that a category. But for now, I just put it in public open house.
Mm-hmm.
But that was partly why I made that tiny URL sign as well, because in case somebody did come by the house, they would, I could say, hey, there's the URL to watch it, because we're in the social distancing time period.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future, you may want to do both. You could have it advertised as a real open house and as a virtual open house. So that'll be something for MLSs to think about as well. Can people click both? And will the virtual open house even be at, say, 1:45 and the open house at 2:00? So that's another, so we don't have the problem you
Exactly.
had. But yeah, I just made some notes with it and hoped people would see it. And I did make a post on Sunday morning that said that I'm going to go live this afternoon if anybody wants to watch. It's good to give some advance notice on your personal page to say, whether you're doing one house or maybe if you're doing 2 or 3 houses. It might be, if you're not going to do the full 2 hours, which you're not going to do 2 hours live anyway, you're just going to do 10 minutes or something. But if you're not going to do any real open houses, you might do 3 virtual open houses between 2 to 4. So you could post in the morning, I'm going to be at these 3 houses this afternoon if you want to watch or see any of them.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point because you can only schedule a live from your PC or your laptop. So you can't do it from your telephone, but you have to go ahead and promote it. If you can't schedule it because you're going to do it on your phone only, then go ahead and promote it just by making a post and putting a link there. And I think that's a really good point. I did the same thing with the link, and when I posted it in RealTrax, I took that link and I put it in the comment section of RealTrax. So if somebody happened upon it, it doesn't show up as a link, but they could copy and paste it and put it in their browser. And for those of you guys who are wondering, I've already made that suggestion to RealTrax to go ahead and create either a virtual open house or allow us to put a link in the comments or something along those lines. Because I think this is, like you said a minute ago, this is going to change the way we do business going forward.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said about putting it in the comments. I put one in my comments as well, and it's still there, but that's also a good reason why you should do like a tiny URL or a bit.ly to shorten it, because the things in the MLS need to be unbranded. Mm-hmm. And so you don't want to put your name there and stuff like that. So you want to be respectful of that. I mean, it does, and it goes to my personal page, which of course is kind of branded. So there may be somebody might have something to say about that. But if you let it in the virtual and put the brand there, it's just nice to be respectful of others when you're doing that.
It is.
Not try and push yourself like that.
It is. And another thing you can do, like while you're going live, you can tell people to leave comments if they have questions. You can ask people to share it, because the more people that engage the video, the more the Facebook algorithm will broadcast it out there to more people. And then if you get people to actually share the live stream, that's just going to put it in more people's hands. And so that's probably another good reason why you want to do it from your personal page, because if you do it from your business page, it's not going to share far and wide. But go ahead, Monica.
Yeah, you saw me have a great idea.
Yeah.
What if you shared it, if your seller shared it on their neighborhood page?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
There's another idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, share that. And actually, my clients did that.
Yeah,
they shared it in their Lockland Springs neighborhood page. That live, because I scheduled mine, so they were able to share that thing. And then another thing that you mentioned earlier, watch parties. So if your clients can host a watch party of your live and invite their friends to see it, so that's another good way that you can promote it. And then also, if you wanted to do it to an event, you can also advertise. You can also take that and advertise that event, and either boost the event or just go to Ads Manager and run ads for that event, and you'll be able to kind of get that further out there. So the more people's eyes that get on it, the better it is for you and your clients and everybody else.
Yeah, somebody was asking a question. They said, my videos are too large to share, even if they're 30 seconds. Is there a setting that you think is being missed there?
Well, I mean, that's probably true of most videos. So, I mean, you could, it's hard to email them to somebody, but you could put them in a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link and share that with somebody. That's what I usually do with videos. Or you just upload them to a social media post and then share that post. So those are the kind of ways around that.
Yeah, and you might need to wait to upload it or download it, as it were. If you're doing it on data, it may not save while you're on data. You might have to get on Wi-Fi for it to save better. And for the future, that's what YouTube is for. Put it on YouTube and make sure you give it good keywords.
Oh, for sure. YouTube is great, and one of the great things about the software that I was using is it automatically records it to my hard drive, and then I can immediately take that copy and upload it to YouTube, and then it's just really simple to do that.
Yep.
And Marie's saying also that you can share larger videos with WhatsApp. So if you have WhatsApp, that's another good way to share it between folks. I was looking through here if there were any other questions that popped up. Maybe if we missed your question, maybe you could repeat it on here, and that way we'd be glad to see if we can answer it.
Oh, I've got one here.
Okay.
So Antoinette said, don't some real estate photography companies provide this professionally? And I don't know any who are doing virtual open houses yet, although that's certainly something that if there becomes a need for it, I think they would expand that, and you would hire the photographer to come for that half hour while you were doing it, and then you could be in it. And this is something, too, if you had someone who could videotape you, that's what the other Craig Wilburn that I interviewed for the podcast, that's what they did. They had one person carrying the camera, one person in front of the camera, and a third person actually doing the comments and answering the questions on the comments. So, you could get a professional photographer to do it, and then you could be like the open house host and be in front of the camera, the Vanna White kind of thing.
Yeah, and someone else John Giffen just made a good point too, is encouraging everybody to make sure that you put your personal pictures and items of value out of sight, because you don't want those showing up on the video and then someone's casing your client's properties through a Facebook Live. So that is an excellent point, John. Thank you for bringing that up. Someone else asked a second ago too about what is the maximum or what is the preferred length for the video. Most of the time when you see it online, you'll see people put 3 to 5 minutes for a Facebook Live. But I think Monica's right. I think you can go probably up to 10 minutes without losing a whole lot of people. And what we did was I think ours was about 5 or 10 minutes. And then we left our phone number up there and we said, okay, so if you want your own personal video tour or video chat tour is what we call it, just call us at this number or call us through Skype or call us through WhatsApp or FaceTime. You can use any of those products and we'll give you a personal video chat tour. We'll spend as much time with you in any of the rooms that you want to. We will answer any questions that you have, and you can do that right after your virtual open house. So if anybody's online watching it and they want more information, you're there to answer those questions and give them their own private tour right there in front of them.
Yep.
And speaking of that too, like one of the things I was wondering about, especially with my first one, is if everything failed and the live stream died, we'll always have a backup plan. And so what I did was I took, like Monica mentioned earlier about the 3D Zillow photos. Well, I took those 3D links to those and I posted them in the comments of the live stream before it started. So that way, if somebody got there early or got there late or they couldn't see what they wanted to, they had another way to get that. So if you don't have the 3D Zillow photos, you could also just do a walkthrough on your telephone and post a link to that in the comments. So and that's just in case it all blows up on you. At least you have something of value there for the folks that are watching.
Totally. How do you set that up, though? Are you scheduling a live? Because I didn't schedule mine, and so I did put photos in my comments. I actually put photos of the amenities in my comments because I didn't want to drive over to the amenity center, and it has a really nice amenity center. So I took photos beforehand, and I put them in the comments, like what you're talking about, so people could see that too. But if I did those before, or what you're talking about, the 3D link, how do I set up the video on Facebook Live so that I can make comments before I actually go live?
Yeah, I scheduled mine, so that gave me the ability to post those comments there. But if you don't, I mean, what I would do is have a second person there, and then as soon as you go live, they can make those comments and post a link in there for you.
Right. Yeah, use the comment section to put up more information because it's going to live. They're going to live there for a long time afterwards. So that's a really important thing. Good.
Yeah,
Cool.
someone asked if we have links to my live open house that I could share with you. I'll post them later in the comments of this live stream. But you could go to my Facebook wall and you'll see it there, and you'll see where it crashed and where it worked well and what it didn't. So feel free to look through those and laugh at me. I'll be laughing right alongside you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can learn a little bit something. Monica, is yours still up on your personal page?
Mine's on my personal page, and then I also shared it to my Franklin Monica business page as well, so you can see it at either place. And just make sure it's public. Don't forget, if you only post usually to your friends, don't forget to make your setting public for the live.
Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to be able to share it too, is if it's public. So make sure it's open to everybody, and that way the most people see it. Any other questions that we've missed? Oh, I guess one other thing to point out is like front lighting is key. So if you don't have front lighting, I'll close my blinds a little bit, and you'll kind of see what the difference looks like. So you see how much darker it gets when it gets really dark. And it gets really dark, it's really hard to see. And just a little bit of light makes the view look so much better and more professional. All I did right there was open my blinds. So, I mean, you can't always have front lighting when you're walking through the house, but maybe when you're first talking, make sure the light is not coming from behind. Don't stand in front of a window unless you're facing it.
Try and pay attention to the lighting. At least do what you can. Before we close, though, I want to talk about the buyer's agent side. Can I talk about that now?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, this is one of my things that I think is going to happen. It's going to be cool, and I think that we should do this. And my idea is this. As buyer's agents, I think, so say you have a client who wanted to see Steve's property. You'd sent that property over to Steve's, to your client, and you noticed it was going to have an open house. Why don't you get your client on the phone and watch the virtual open house with your client? I want us to think about, as buyer's agents, looking through listings with our clients more often. Now, in this environment, certainly that seems easier to do now or more obvious because, we can't go in the houses. But the difference here is I want to see agents not just send listings over to their buyer clients. I want to see agents going through those listings together with them in a virtual manner. Because when buyers go through the listings, sometimes they're just flippant with them. They're not taking them fully serious. And certainly if there's only a minimum of photos there, then they're only able to see what they can see and interpret it through their inexperienced filter. But when we, as experienced agents, look at those photos and those videos, we see way more generally than they do because we're just used to looking at them that way. And so I would like to encourage us as buyer's agents to look at the videos with our clients. Look at the open houses. Spend more time going through the online presentation of the photos with your buyer clients to help them see things better. And I just think that's going to be a good way we can improve our skill level in the future. It's not just send over 10 listings. It's like, no, can we schedule an hour to look at these 10 listings together?
Yeah, especially if there's one that you think is perfect for them that they passed over because it didn't check every box on their list. It doesn't hurt to take some time and sit down and Zoom with them. And then also you can talk to them. But then also you can both look at your screen and go through the photos and, remind them. Go back to the goals that they had and remind them and make sure that they understand no one's ever going to get everything they want in a house. We all have to make a compromise or two. And so if you can remind them of all the boxes that it does check instead of focusing on the ones it doesn't, you're more likely to help them get over that hump and move forward. Because that's the hardest thing, I think, especially for new buyers, is they think that they're going to get everything that they want, and that's not always the case.
And this provides another opportunity for you to be improving your relationship with your buyers as well. If you're just sending over listings, there's not really any relationship going on.
Right.
When you're on a Zoom call together looking at listings together, especially in an environment now or even, on into the next few months where it'll be more difficult to view houses, that's a way to improve your relationship.
Mm-hmm. Any computer can forward them listings automatically.
Right. Yeah. You need to bring value to the table.
That's
Awesome.
right.
Yeah. Great way to remind that, Steve.
That's right. Someone asked a second ago about like posting photos of the roof condition or mechanicals or things like that. I mean, I would probably not do that. I might post a link to where they could get that information. So maybe post a link to RealTracs where they can see the property condition disclosure. But I probably wouldn't put those kind of photos in there. I might consider photos of maybe the top 5 things about this house that people are going to like, but I probably wouldn't put mechanicals and roof condition and those kinds of things in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you see any other questions that we might have missed? I mean, I'm sure there are, and I'll get back to them in the comments if we didn't.
Yep. Yeah, there was a question about the mechanicals on advertising. When we do live, do we make sure the office info is still on there to stay in reds? Yes. You always want to have, it's a real estate practice, and you want to have your name and company name and phone number. Always, the office phone number. So you always want to have that. And so that's a benefit to, here's how I did it. Because it was on my personal page, I did it in my live video. The introductory comments, I could set it up. I had that to be legal. And then when you share it to your business page, you're going to be more legal. But yeah, it's just good to go ahead and set yourself up that way. Again, that's just showing how people can contact you. Too many of us on our Facebook profiles don't have our phone numbers and email numbers made public anyway. So, put your phone number out there. I mean, even the office number, they can find you that way. So that's good. Yeah,
definitely make sure you have your brokerage name, have Benchmark on there, have your office number, and have your cell phone number so they can call you directly on there.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions we're missing out on?
I think, somebody said, or city. That's an important thing. When you're doing your Facebook Live, putting your tools on there or putting your title, put the city name where you are. I've seen excellent videos, and I even use some in my classes that don't have a city name anywhere. Somebody in the video was like, and it's so close to the university. And I was like, I got no university. I got no city. And actually that house was even in Canada, and I didn't know it was in Canada. So you need to put that basic information, because who knows where it's going to get around. So make sure you put the town and the city that you're in and say the address. I was careful to focus on the name of the neighborhood too, because I wanted people to know that. Are you saying to have a graphic on the video with your info? You could do the graphic. You could, do the woo, you could have it written, do one of those little signs. So if you want to do that and hold up your office information or the address and neighborhood and city, you could do that too. Kind of like the what do they do with the cardboard pieces, and they kind of toss them over. So yeah, you can do something like that as well. Or you could just do it on your title, and even you can see how on the video that we're looking at, Steve put that virtual open house tools, tips and tricks. You could do that with the address or with your information there too.
So in order to get that on the screen right there, that overlay, I'm using a software called Ecamm Live, and so that's a live streaming software. So you don't necessarily need that to do a virtual open house. That just helps your production value a little bit. That's what helps. That's what allows both Monica and I to be on the screen at the same time. You don't have to have that, but and Ecamm Live is for Mac only. And so if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me, and I'll be glad to talk to you about that. There's another one called Streamlabs OSB or StreamYard, and that works for both Mac and Windows. So if you're interested in getting a higher production value, or maybe you've seen the market update reports that I've been doing, I've been using one of these streaming software to do that. It's really inexpensive, and it just improves the production value of what you're doing. Makes you look, but it's not necessary to do a virtual open house. That's why we didn't spend much time on it.
Well, and that's kind of the point is finished is better. Getting it done is better than trying or planning. So don't worry about doing it fancy. Just start doing it and then do it better.
And it's Ecamm, ECAMM.com. Ecamm is the Mac version, ECAMM.com.
It's an add-in for Skype. I don't know what else you use it with.
Yep. You could do also Streamlabs OSB is a PC and Mac product, and another one I've heard good information about is StreamYard. So you've got Ecamm Live, Streamlabs OSB, and StreamYard. Those are all. I'm only used Ecamm, so that's the only one I can say that I can give a personal recommendation for. But I have friends that use the other two, and that's what was recommended by them.
Okay, since we spent a minute on that, how do those relate to helping us with a virtual open house? I don't quite understand the benefit of those softwares.
Okay.
In this context.
Yeah, and so I would only really recommend using those if you have strong internet access at the house you're doing an open house for. But the way that I used it was I was broadcasting live from my PC, and then I Skyped in from my telephone to the broadcast, and then I was able to walk around the home just showing the house. The problem I ran into was that my signal wasn't strong enough to broadcast to all those signals, and so it died out on me. So I probably, if I was doing it at a home that didn't have internet access or didn't have high-speed internet access, then I would just use next time I do it, I'm just going to use my phone and my ear pods, and that's it.
Yeah, I didn't use that extra streaming software. So I would just put that in your pocket for when you get a little more sophisticated or they get a little easier to use. That'll be a better way.
Or if you're just trying to do like my market update show where you're sitting at your desk, that way it's pretty easy to do.
At home videos, right? Other kinds of maybe not live in the house. So
remember,
as you venture into these things, don't make it harder on yourself. I love, talking with Steve about this stuff. We can talk about some things that are beginner level, intermediate level, and advanced level. So don't get freaked out by the things we talk about on the advanced level when you're a beginner. So take your level where you are and just go do it, and then learn some more and do it better. So don't let these streaming apps get in the way of you just doing it.
Just start simple, have a plan, have a backup plan, and then as you learn, add more stuff to it.
Yep. All right. I think we're good. Steve will put the links for those in the live later. But again, don't get caught up in those. Remember, it's just you and Facebook Live and your phone to start, and think about a gimbal and your headset. Don't make it too complicated. And have fun.
So I want to thank Monica for being on here with me today. I want to thank Philip for allowing us to reach out to you guys and broadcast. Thank the Benchmark family for just being good people and for just doing the best thing for your clients every time. And if there's anything we can do for you, I'll speak for Monica. Just reach out to either one of us. We'll be glad to help you. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.